friends, today we're going to begin work on our lowercase letters, okay? So let's go ahead and get our paper ready. Remember, our red line is our guide. So let's go ahead and create our brackets. So we have our top line, that's the first line. The middle line, that's the second line. And then the bottom line, which is the very last line or the third line. Okay, so the first letter that we're going to learn today is going to be the letter C, okay? Does anybody remember what sound C makes? I'll give you a hint. I want you to think about a cat. What sound do you hear at the beginning of cat? That's right, it's the K sound. Say it with me, K, K. Now I want you to take your fingers, I want you to pretend like they're a pair of scissors and make this sound, K, K, K. Good job. That's what sound C makes. Now we're gonna learn how to create the letter C. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that middle line right here. And we are going to move over one. So remember that imaginary rectangle on our paper. So we're gonna move over and we're gonna touch just below that middle line. And we are going to curve around, touch the bottom line, and curve back up. And that is the letter C. Okay, let's try it again. Lowercase c, and this time, let's make the sound that C makes. Ready? K. 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 Nice job. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right, you can practice that letter C 5 more times and make sure that you make the K sound for C like in cat when you practice. All right, let's move on to the next letter. Go ahead and set your paper up with your top line, your middle line, and your bottom line. And the next letter we're gonna learn is the letter O. Does anybody remember what sound O makes? Here's a hint, octopus. Did you say ah? You are correct. All right, so to make the letter O, we're going to find that middle line again. Imagine your imaginary rectangle, and we're going to move over one. And we're going to put our pencil down here on that middle line. And we're going to curve around, touch the bottom line, and curve up and connect back to our middle line. And that is the lowercase O. So remember, O makes the ah, ah, ah sound. So let's go ahead and make that sound for O as we write the letter O. Here we go, my friends. Pick up your pencil. Ah. Try it again. Ah. One more time. Ah. All right, here's your challenge. You can push pause at this point in the video and practice the letter O 5 more times and make sure you make that sound for O like an octopus. Ah, every time you write it. All right, let's move on to the next letter. We have our top, our middle, and our bottom line. And the next letter we're going to learn is going to use the same shape as O, okay? And this time, we're going to learn the letter A. That's right. Can you think of something that might begin with the letter A? Did you say apple? I was thinking apple too. Apple begins with the letter A, and it makes the ah sound. So that's the sound we're going to be thinking about when we form the letter A. So again, I want you to think about that rectangle, and we're going to move over one. Okay, we're going to start here at the middle line. We're going to curve around to the bottom. We're going to curve back up. We're going to connect. And then we're going to make like a stick right here. So it's like a circle and a stick. And that is our capital or our lowercase a. So let's try it again. Ready? It has to connect. Ah. 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 Now, you can get real good and not pick your pencil up at all, and it looks like this. Ah. And I can come up, form a straight line, and come back down. So that's something to get to. But if you need to do a circle and a connected stick to begin, that's fine. Eventually, you'll get to doing it where you don't have to pick your pencil up at all. And that would be awesome. So I want you to practice the letter A 5 more times. And make sure you make that short A sound, ah, like an apple. Go ahead and push pause on the video and practice. All right, let's move on to the next letter. Go ahead and get your brackets set up with your top line, your middle line, and your bottom line. And the next letter we're going to learn is going to be the letter D, okay? And the letter D is going to begin in the same way that the letters O and A began, okay? So again, I want you to imagine that imaginary rectangle. We're going to move over once, okay? We're going to start in the middle, on that middle line. We're going to curve around, and then we're going to go up to the top, and then you can create a line that starts at the top and goes to the bottom. So this is the circle and the stick method, like that, okay? So that's one way you can do it. Here's another way, where you can start here, you can curve around, and then you can trace that line up to the top and then trace it back down to the bottom. So there's two different ways you can do it. It might be easier for you to do this, the circle and the connected stick. Or you can try to graduate to making that circle and then making that line come back down to touch the bottom line. Okay, so just that's something to keep in mind. All right, now when we think of the letter D, I want you to think of a dog. That's right. And remember, dog begins with the D sound. So this time when we write our D's, let's make the sound. Here we go. D. 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 Good job, my friends. All right, I want you to push pause on the video, practice that letter D 5 more times, and make sure you make the sound D, like in dog, when you write that word. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, the last one we're going to learn today is going to be the letter E. So I went ahead and I got my paper ready, got my brackets there with my top line, my middle line, and my bottom line. And the reason why I wanted us to learn this many letters today is we're actually going to practice writing some words. Yes, it's so exciting. Okay, so for the letter E, it's a little bit different, starts differently than some of these other ones. Eventually, it's going to have a shape like a C. So just keep that in mind. But we're going to actually start between the middle line and the bottom line, okay? And then we're going to pull across like this, okay? Then we're going to curve up to the middle line, curve around. We're going to connect that line right there, go down to the bottom line, and then curve back up. So it kind of looks like a C with a line across, but you actually begin with this little line in the middle first, okay? So remember, for E, I want you to think about an egg. Everybody say egg. That's right. And E begins with the sound. So let's try to make that E sound, that short E sound, when we write the lowercase letter E. Ready? Here we go. Eh. 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 Nice job, my friends. Go ahead and push pause on the video and practice the letter E 5 more times and make sure you make that sound. Okay, my friends, now we're going to write some words with some of the letters that we learned how to write earlier in our video. But I'm going to show you a tool that you can use to help you when we write words. This is a tool that one of my friends uses with her students, and it works really well. So if you write with your right hand, you're going to pound and tap with your left hand. So it would look like this. Let's say we were going to write the word cat. It would look like this. Cat. K, at. Okay? So that way I can pound the word and I can also tap the sounds. If I were going to do this with my left hand, if I were left-handed, I would hold my pencil in my left hand and I would pound and tap with my right hand. So it would look like this. Cat, k, at. All right? So we're going to try that today when we write our words. Here we go. Okay, let's get ready to write. Go ahead and make sure your paper has your brackets with your top line, your middle line, and your bottom line. Okay, the first word that we're going to write is the word dad. Everybody say dad. I have a dad. His name is John. Okay, so now let's pound it out. Dad. D. A. D. And remember, if you're left-handed, it would look like this. Dad. D. A. D. Okay, let's get ready to write. So when I remember that sound, that first sound I heard was D, like in dog. So that's going to be the letter D. Remember, with the letter D, we start at the midline and we curve around. And then we're going to go all the way to that top line and all the way back down. So there's the first sound. D. A. That reminds me of like apple. A. So that's going to be that letter A. So we're going to make that circle around on that midline to that bottom line, go up to that middle line, and go back down to that bottom line. Let's listen to it again. Dad. D. A. D. Oh, I hear the letter D again, don't you? So we're going to form that letter D again. And now we have the word dad. Can you use the word dad in a sentence? Go ahead and try it. Okay, let's move on to the next word. The next word is cod. Now, a cod is a type of fish, and it is a very yummy fish that you could eat. All right, ready? Get your hand ready. We're going to pound the word cod, and then we're going to tap out the sounds we hear. Ready? Cod. K. A. D. Remember, if you're left-handed, it's going to look like this. Cod. K. A. D. Okay. So, what was the first sound we heard in cod? K. I hear the K sound, and we learned that C makes the K sound. Remember? K, K, K. All right, so let's go ahead and let's form that word next. Here we go. Cod. The first letter in that word is going to be the letter C. Remember, it curves around from the midline and goes down to the bottom. Now, let's think about the sounds we hear in cod again. Get ready to pound. Cod. K. A. Ooh, that second sound, that's what we're focused on. Ah, like an octopus. That's going to be the letter O. Remember, that just starts in the midline, it circles around to the baseline, and then comes back up to that middle line. So we have K, A, D. Ah, just like in dad. That is the letter D. D. So we're going to make that curve around on the midline, touch the baseline, come back around, touch the top line, and come back down and touch the bottom line. We have the word cod. I think maybe for dinner, I will fry up a piece of cod for my family. You try to use the word cod in a sentence. Now, the next word that we're going to learn actually takes all the letters in cod, and then we add one more letter. And it is the one letter we have not written yet, okay? And this letter is very special. When it is added to the end of a word, it's called a magic E. Sometimes you might hear it called a silent E or a ninja E, but its job is to make the vowel change from its short sound, like in octopus, to saying its name. So instead of it saying it's going to say O. And the next word you're going to write is the word code. So let's pound that out. Ready? Code. K, O, D. Ooh, you notice you don't hear the silent E sound at all. Here we go. Ready? Ah. D. There's cod. Now we're going to change it to code. C. O. D. And we're going to add that E to the end so it has that silent E that makes that O say its name. When I use my debit card, I have to punch in a special code in order for my card to work when I go to the grocery store. Can you use the word code in a sentence? All right, my readers and writers, go ahead and tackle the day and try to write more words using the letters C, O, A, D, and E.